The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining our cnMaestro presentation. I have with myself here Dave Geithner, who's going to be going through our Maestro presentation. He's our systems architect. And without further ado, Dave, it's over to you.
Thanks. So thanks so much. All right, so this morning, or at least for us, I'm going to speak in my time zone terms. Apologies for those who are around global and such. But so this morning we're going to go through cnMaestro, a little bit of a different scenario. I think a lot of the cnMaestro presentations we've done to date have been more slideware, PowerPoint presentations and such. And so today we're going to try to do a little bit more of a live scenario. Live is always kind of tricky and sometimes dangerous to do on a webinar, but hopefully we should get through this relatively smoothly, and if we have questions, we can pause, or we can just fly through it as time permits here. I will preface this, full disclosure, that our product manager, Alan Yu and Emilio I never can quite pronounce his last name, but so they would normally be doing this presentation. However, we have some scheduling conflicts, so I'll be doing it for you. I have some reasonably good exposure with cnMaestro, but if there's some roadmap questions or things of that nature, we may have to defer some of those. Anyways, bear with me for just one more second. I can put my phone on mute. All right, so cnMaestro. It's for those of you familiar with network management solutions, or at least the ones that we've provided before cnMaestro, we've had solutions called Prism that's managed our PMP products from years 2000, 2002 forward. We've had CNUTs that's basically provided software updates in bulk to our products. We've had Wireless Manager, we've had CNS. These are all SNMP-based type solutions, and we've evolved now to a new integrated, intelligent, easy type of solution called cnMaestro, which at present is a cloud-based network management solution that is will soon be able to manage all of our portfolio. Right now it manages our cnPilot portfolio and our ePMP portfolio. I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek. It's going to be managing our Canopy PMP 450 portfolio here in the next month. I'll give you a sneak peek of some of the management capabilities of that right now that I'll show you on the webinar. And our licensed PTP and pretty much everything that is in our portfolio will be managed by cnMaestro one way or another here within the next several months. So if you haven't played with cnMaestro, used cnMaestro, signed up for cnMaestro, I strongly encourage you to do so. It's a very attractive fee for utilizing it, which is free right now at the moment. And you may recognize I said right now at the moment because there's likely some eventual changes coming that will add some for service or for payment fees for certain options, certain what we would kind of call advanced options that would be made available to you within cnMaestro. And I'll speak to a little bit of what those advanced options might be. But everything you'll see today anyways, so that we'll kind of fly through here real quick, the onboarding, the template, the configuration, the account management, the network display, the maps, all of that is baseline features available on the product today and will be free and stay free to people that want to sign up for it and use it to manage their network. I did say it's a cloud-based right now. We will be launching what we call our on-premise version of it, which means I can now, instead of having to deal with the clouds, because for whatever reason some people are uncomfortable with cloud management solutions for their particular reasons. So we've also made an option now, or we'll be launching an option. We're actually in beta for those that want to sign up for the beta usage of the on-premise version of cnMaestro. But anyways, so now you'll be able to install it on a hardware appliance within your own network and not necessarily need to access the cloud to manage your devices. All right. I think that's enough of a preface. So let me see if I can maneuver around here a little bit. I will do a little bit of slideware here before logging into an account and just kind of walking through the GUI and talking a little bit about some, well, a little bit about the application itself, and then maybe a couple of best practices. We're still working on gathering up best practices, so we'll probably be adding to this as we go forward. Anyways, cnMaestro, simplified network management is the high-level goal of what this solution is looked to achieve. Cloud service, deployable on-premise, as I said, in 2016, actually probably within the next month. We're already in beta right now with several customer implementations. Built from the ground up, and it's a secure end-to-end network life cycle management type of solution. Secure is key when we're dealing with a cloud-based application. A lot of people might think, hey, you know, my network is being managed by a cloud service. That means all of my sensitive private information about my network is actually out there in the internet and people are going to see it and I might become vulnerable. Actually, it's furthest from the truth. All of the communications between your radio devices and the cloud-based service are encrypted and secure as in the same manner as your banking information, as your credit card information, as your online purchasing information for you know, any site you may go to and make some kind of online personal purchases. So HTTPS is the protocol that's utilized and keeps all of the information very secure. Single pane of glass. So as you can see, all Cambium devices are intended to be supported by cnMaestro within 2016. As I mentioned, we have CM pilots, we have ePMP supported today. The E500 and the 450 will be supported probably by the end of this month as far as general release. So as I mentioned, I'll give you some sneak peeks of it early on here. And then 650 and the remainder of the Cambium portfolio within the next following months. So I'll probably switch here to, let me log out, and so how do I get to the Cloud cnMaestro services from Cambium Networks? Launch any browser, as you can see here, and basically cloud, let's try it again, see how, there we go. Cloud.cambiumnetworks.com will get you to this splash page. If this is the first time that you are actually signing up, you would be creating a company account. It remembers me right now, so actually you would see a sign up page instead of this page, but as it remembers me, it already gives me my sign in. So I'll just sign in. But basically, also it does give me the next thing. This is something I wanted to definitely spend a few seconds just to kind of tell people. When you're signing up for your online account and you eventually get to this page after you've created your support site account credentials, here's how you interpret this page. Company account name, pretty straightforward. Put in whatever company account. You can make it up. Doesn't have to be globally unique. The country where this is located, pretty self-explanatory. Time zone. These are the two things that are very important that you take care with creating, because once you create your Cambium ID, you have no ability to change that. You would have to contact Cambium and open a support ticket, and after time, you would then perhaps eventually be able to change the Cambium ID. But the Cambium ID is basically, think of it as a username. So this is what with the ways that the radio devices are discovered and managed by cnMaestro, this is a unique identifier. Think of it as a username or your username. So this is what you would need to make sure is globally unique and something that you are pretty certain you're not going to need to change. And then the onboarding key, think of that as the password. So username, password, username must be globally unique, and once you've created it, you no longer have any ability to change it, so be very careful with what you select there. Then you would click on the I agree, create an account, you'll get an email and say welcome to cnMaestro, click on here, and away you go. Since I already have an account, I'm not going to go through those following steps, and I will just back up all the way here and be logged into my account, and here we go. So when you, well, I should probably explain that a little bit. So let me go back. So I created, or I did the sign-in button, which is normally right where my arrow is, and it signed me in. It auto-recognized me. It's my name, and here's where I would actually select what account do I want to go into. See, so me as a user, I actually can have several different network systems that I may want to manage separately. A particular customer network, or Chicago Church, or my lab system, or a couple other different systems. These are all different systems that have different solutions, different products, different network topology, different locations in the country for that matter. And so I have some nice organizational ability to narrow down selectively what I want to actually look at. So I'm going to look at our lab network, which is called cnDaveG Inc. And it'll log me into the instance of that system within the cloud, cnMaestro. I'm now in the cloud, and this is kind of your landing page. And from here, you can do a number of different things. Now, very often people get to this page and say, onboard devices. Well, right away, I want to go onboard my devices that I want to be managed by cnMaestro. Well, so sure, you can do that, but actually, if we want to talk about best practices and such, you may actually want to organize your system first. And what does organize your system mean? It means create kind of those assets, those mounting assets, those building assets, those definitions of where radio devices are actually located from a building asset perspective. So there's always a default, and you can't get rid of a default. And then under defaults, again, this is a lab network, so I've created something called a tower for Rolling Meadows. That's where we're located. And then we have another system, or a network, I'm sorry, called an enterprise. It's actually an enterprise customer, and it's a grooming facility, and it has 3 devices associated with it. And I could add multiple other towers or multiple other networks if I wanted to. If I had, maybe I was operating a service in Kansas City, and I have various different enterprise customers in Kansas City, and so I can create various different networks, or I can call it all one network. But you basically use this this organization of system to better organize how you're doing your business, how you're separating your business, how you're separating your devices, so that the manageability of it becomes much more logical to you. So take some time to organize your system as far as defining your networks, defining your towers, before you even begin to onboard devices, so that when you onboard those devices, you can immediately attach them to where they go, what towers they're associated with, what buildings, what networks they're associated with. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. You have some.
So Dave, we did have a quick question that came in, asking if they can have different Cambium IDs for each of the networks they're maintaining, or just create different networks as you've been currently showing.
It's easiest, at least in my experience, to manage everything under a single Cambium ID. If you're the actual, service provider, and then just create different networks. You can create many different networks. When you create a Cambium ID, a unique Cambium ID, you need to tie it to a unique email address to validate and associate with that. So, as you can imagine, if I have 20 different networks, Well, fine. I can create those all easily under a single Cambium ID. I'm the operator, and so I can separate things out logically and define my system, define my network by networks, versus creating 20 different unique Cambium IDs, all with 20 different emails that I have to go to Gmail or whatever to create. It doesn't make a whole lot of logical sense, at least not to me. And no offense, but that's not the way I would do it. So hopefully that answers the question. It's really probably best to create separate networks, and then you can visualize those networks. You can filter on those networks so that that network is all that you're looking at the particular time. It's very flexible with how you can create dedicated views.
And Dave, to follow up with that, how many accounts can be made within cnMaestro?
Accounts. So I'm not sure what the definition of account is, but if it's a Cambium, if it's a unique Cambium ID tied to the account, then you can have one per valid email address. Hopefully that answers the question there. The other thing too, by the way, maybe this will help add on to that answer a little bit here. So there's another thing called Add Administrator. So I've created my account, Dave Geithner, I'm under Dave G Inc., which is our lab, and I have two other guys that work for me in our systems team, and I want to give them access to be able to view this thing without giving them my login credential information, you know, it's personal to me. I can add administrators here. And here I've already added a whole bunch of administrators for this particular solution. So I can say somewhere here, up to 3 administrators can manage an account. So I can add an administrator. I forget where that actual add button is. Sorry for that. I may be actually out because I've run to the limit here. But anyways, normally you'd be able to, oh, here it is down here. I just had to scroll down a little bit. Just simply add a user, put in the email address for that user. Do I want to make that person an admin? If I do want to make him an admin, which gives them more privileges than most, I would click on this, and that's what it means here in that statement saying I can have up to 3 administrators. I can have many, many, many different people that can actually access the accounts and monitor things. But if I want them to be able to administer, which gives them more privileges, kind of super user privileges to the account, I can only have 3 of those. So if I put in the email address of another person I wanted to be able to access this account, that person would then receive an email saying, you've been invited to join, please click here. And when you click here, you have to accept the invitation, and once you accept the invitation, then you're able to access the account. And now I have multiple users, myself and the guys that work with me, maybe maintenance crew, maybe some other folks, all able to manage the account. In time, within the next few releases, you'll be able to actually custom define what the views will look like, partition the particular views, maybe even partition the particular networks that these individuals that you'll give access to, visibility to, so that they only see what's important or what you feel is important to them, and they're not able to see maybe other customers that might be more sensitive for whatever reason. So again, this is how you would add additional users. And in the very near future, we'll also be adding a lot more capabilities for how you partition what people can see and what people can do as you invite them. Any other questions? No? Good? Good. Great. How are we doing on time?
We're good.
Good? All right. All right, so we've come in, we've organized our system by defining those assets. We've added some administrators for other people to come in and access the accounts and get visibility to things going on. If this was a brand new account, then the very first thing I would go to would be onboard devices. What is onboard devices? So onboarding is the term that we use for discovery. If you're going to discover a new device, you would you can do it a couple different ways, as it's kind of defined here in this screen. You can claim the device from cnMaestro, and this is a very, very handy, very, very powerful way to simplify your work process in such that for our CN Pilot products, the R200, R201, E400, E500 devices, when you receive those devices, and say you've ordered 100 of them because you know you're going to be deploying quite a few for a campus, quite a few for another business, a school, a library, what have you. You know in the next several months you're going to be doing that. There's a promotions to get some good pricing this month, so you're buying in bulk. You have 100 or so. You don't know exactly which ones are going to go where, but you know you're going to manage all these devices. So what you would do is actually receive the devices, and then on the barcode on the outside of the box, simply scan in the barcode information of those devices, the serial number of those devices. You would scan them in here, excuse me, and then claim those devices. So what that did is that's basically said in your accounts, in the cloud cnMaestro account, those serial numbers, when they appear to the cloud, they're owned by you. And so the moment that they come online, the moment they connect to the internet, the moment they're installed, powered up, and connect to the internet, they will be visible within cnMaestro without you having to do anything. And then once they're in cnMaestro, or once they're powered up, they would appear in this onboard area, where you would basically have a row here that gives you the information of what the radio type is, serial number, a bunch of other configuration information, and a button over here that would say claim. Yeah. Wish I had one I could claim. I could potentially try to unclaim one right now. So let's pause on that for just a little bit. So anyways, so two ways to claim devices or onboard devices, discover devices. One way is by serial number. Again, you don't even have to touch the device. You've received 100 of them. They're going to different customers. You don't care. You scan all the serial numbers. You put them here. And then as you've divvied them out in the next week or the next month or the next 2 months or the next several months, as you've divvied them out, you've identified what serial numbers you've sent to customer location X, what serial numbers you sent to customer location Y. As they pop up in your cnMaestro account, you've created your assets already. You've created your towers, your networks, your customer locations, and that organize your networks area. And now I can immediately attach those devices to the towers, attach those devices to the building locations, attach those devices to the networks, because I've taken the time ahead to prepare organize my network. All right, so that's for CN Pilot devices. The other way to claim devices would be via configuration within the actual device. So I'd go into the device and I would say, remember when we created this Cambium ID way in the early stages of creating a cnMaestro account? Well, that Cambium ID is another way to uniquely identify that a device belongs to your account. And you would put that Cambium ID and password, the key, aka password, into the radio device, configure it via the GUI page, or configure it via zero-touch implementation that we have available. We're talking about PNP. And as that device comes online and reaches the internet, it will immediately find its way to cnMaestro and appear again. Similar to the ones that we provision via serial number, it'll appear in this exact same page. Later on I'll try to see if I can unclaim a device that I currently have claimed and see if we can get something to populate in here so you can kind of see more detail about it. But basically it would list up in here and then you would acknowledge it and you claimed it.
So Dave, quick question here. We have an operator that says most of the networks are usually running on the customer's internal IP scheme. So just to verify, do they have to just make sure that those internal IP addresses will route to the cloud so they can manage them?
So 2 ways to answer that question. Today, if you're going to utilize the cloud itself, then yes, they need to be internet routable, whether you're doing it with an internet IP address of the devices, which is a little bit tricky, or you can do it via NAT. So you don't have to use public IP addresses for all your devices and such. You just go through a NAT. So private within your network, out to the internet through NAT and connect to cnMaestro. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, we also are launching, again, probably the end of this month, what we're calling an on-premise version. So it would be a cnMaestro instance within your own network. So you don't need to access the devices don't need to go out to the internet to get to cnMaestro. They only need to go out to the internet if you're going to utilize the cloud. And there's some advantages with the cloud. There's some advantages with the on-premise version. But it's up to you to choose which instance that you want to use. All right. All right. So here's where I see what was my Cambium ID that I created in case I forget it. So my Cambium ID is cnDaveG_Inc. Again, I can't change this. I have no ability to change this. So when you choose it in the very beginning, be smart with what you want to make it. However, I can change the password, and this is where I would change the password, or what we call the onboarding key. And again, these two parameters, excuse me, are information that you would put into, say, a PMP 450 or a PTP 650 type of device, a device that we don't currently support with discovery via serial number, like we do with our cnPilot information or our cnPilot files. All right, and then if I, for whatever reason, so these are all the devices that are currently managed under this particular account in kind of an inventory list form. But if I, for whatever reason, want to unclaim a device, say I don't know why it's reached its infancy, it's reached its life, it got hit by lightning or whatever, got damaged, and so I want to unclaim it because I'm replacing it with another device or I'm selling it to somebody, whatever the scenario may be. All I'd have to do is come here and unclaim it, and that device would go away. I want to unclaim this guy. Children under, yeah, so unclaim Jack Smith, second. Success, so the success will delete it. Okay, a few more things. So we've gone through organizing our system, adding administrators, onboarding devices. We've talked about that a little bit. Oh, one other thing too, high level. So this area over here, the left-hand side, is kind of where you do your work. It's kind of the business end of the login landing splash page. Over here are some really good quick links, and especially these videos down here. A lot of people, for whatever reason, don't seem to dig into this, but there's some actually very good little vignettes, so to speak, of different things, how you use some of the attributes. I'm going to launch just for like 10, 15, 20 seconds cnMaestro overview one, and it'll take you out to a screen that'll run for different times for different things.
cnMaestro is Cambium Network's next-generation cloud management solution. By using our cloud management solution, you'll get simplified discovery and comprehensive management of your Cambium Network's equipment without the.
All right, so I won't go through, like I said, just a few seconds of that. But there's different topics, as you can kind of see. So the overview, the dashboard, network map overview, alarm management. They'll go into a lot more detail than what I'm going in currently right now. And I strongly encourage you to leverage these little libraries of videos for better understanding of different little things that you can do that you might not be aware of.
So Dave, before we go into the monitoring and so forth, at the bottom it says the devices will stay in queue for 1 week after onboarding. Correct. Does that mean that we will have to re-enter the serial after that week?
No, that means that it stays, good question, good question. So let's go back to this. And good catch, whoever was actually paying attention enough to read the fine print down here. So what that means is, so again, say for instance I had a device that I was just onboarding, and so there would be a row of information in this table populated. And I would eventually go and say onboard or claim the device, and click a little button that appears over on this side of the screen. That device would then say onboarded, and it would be green and everything would be good. And it would stay in this onboarding screen for 1 week after the initial onboarding. After that 1 week, it disappears from this screen and it moves to here, the unclaimed. Actually, I think it's here automatically, even as soon as you onboard, in case you wanted to unclaim it immediately after you onboarded it for some reason. Maybe you made a mistake, or who knows. But all this is basically saying is that it will stay in the screen in this particular onboarding window for 1 week only. It won't then disappear from your network. It won't then require you to have to go in and re-onboard it after a week. It just simply will disappear, unpopulate from this screen. Otherwise, if you had like 1,000 devices in your network and you onboard one new one, you'd have to sort through 1,000 devices in this screen, and we try to make it easier for you that way. So devices will only stay in this screen, this particular screen, for 1 week, and after that, then they disappear. They're still in the network. They're still in the database. They will still be in this unclaimed area. They will still be in the monitor, but they just simply we just do some house cleaning with this particular this particular screen on a weekly basis. Hopefully that explains it. Excuse me. All right. So next one, monitor your network. This is the one that you spend most of your time in once you've actually brought devices in and you're kind of operating your network. Excuse me. So this is your landing page. This is your dashboard from a systems level. So each one of these accounts here that I have listed here, which could be separate users, separate networks, separate businesses. Each one of these will have a system, a roll-up system. And from here I can see kind of a high level of everything, all the different networks that are in my, what's going on with all the different networks that I'm managing. So from a high level perspective, I have a total of 2 point-to-multipoint devices within my system. I have 3 total point-to-multipoint subscriber modules. So this is access points, this is subscriber modules, and 6 total Wi-Fi devices in my network. In my system. So all of these are drill downs, but if I wanted to see more specifically, of all these devices listed here, how many of them are actually in the enterprise groomer, I could simply click on that. And now I see, oh, in the enterprise groomer business, I actually have 3 Wi-Fi devices. And if I want to actually see them, here they are here. But while I'm on the icon that displays the network, I see kind of a dashboard rolled up set of information on what's going on with all of these devices. All 3 of these devices. So I can see what bands they're using, what channels they're using, how many clients are on the various different SSIDs. You can see some location information, alarms that are rolled up for all 3 of the devices. You can see all the client base that is on all these various different devices. I can see which device it's actually on. If I want to, I could link to some specific information. So this is kind of the role. We'll stay in this area here. So maybe I want to just go to see some information specific to this particular access point. Clicked on this guy, and now I start to see some more, even more interesting information. So I can see the uptime for the device, how many clients have been on over the last week, channel it's operating on, both in 2, 4, and 5 gig, any alarms, all the type of key performance indicator information that you would expect. And then as I scroll down, I can see wireless client information throughout the last week. Interestingly, so you see throughput, and then you see a big gap pretty much daily. So why would that be? Well, that's because these devices are set for automatically shutting off the SSID between midnight and 3, or actually 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. So, you know, this is outside of cnMaestro, although you can use the configuration attributes of cnMaestro to be able to do this for you. But the devices have the ability to turn off SSIDs at certain hours if you want to, you know, deter usage during that time, whether it's a college campus, whether it's a business, or whatever. So how many wireless clients were using the network, what's the throughput demands that were on the network over the last week, all that in a dashboard type format, and what particular clients are on this particular access point. And again, I can see that information, that same dashboard information on any of the devices. All I have to do is simply click on it, and I'll get that information pretty much real time. All right, so I'm on a particular device. It happens to be a CN Pilot device, so that's this is, if I hover over the actual device, I get a pop-up window that gives me a little bit more information. So I can see it's a CN Pilot E400 device, Enterprise 400. See what version it's running of software, the IP address of the device locally, on-premise, and some other information. So when I'm here on the device, the area that I would go to that would give me additional information would be these little icons over here to the left. It's kind of like your I guess, directory of additional information. And so if you hover over them, I believe it gives you some bubble help of what they actually are, but pretty straightforward. Alarms for that particular device, any current active alarms going on, or you can see some past history if there was any history of alarms. Device is offline. This is when it goes offline for shutting the SSID off at night. And then any particular events, Wi-Fi clients disconnect, connect, gives you all that information if you would like to know it. Move over here, statistics information. So general statistic information about that particular access point. I won't drill down. I think a lot of it's pretty self-explanatory. Location information. So this is where I can go to actually see what's, if I want to do map views. Let me turn this to satellite view so I can see it's associated with this particular building here on Roselle and Gulf. I can look up to see what that was, or I can put notes in here to tell me what business this is that I'm doing this service at. Troubleshooting. So this is a very powerful page. This allows me to remotely access. I'm nowhere near where this particular device is, but I could remotely access and pull back. Actually, this bubble helps. So this, I believe, if I click on this, it's a pulls back support diagnostic information. And can load it. Well, let me just click it. File download process initiated. Take a few minutes. So basically, by clicking on this button, I've gone out to the device, which is very far away from where I'm currently at, and it's pulled back a technical support config file and diagnostic file from that device, which I can now save locally on my PC here and do analysis. So if I'm troubleshooting, if I need to troubleshoot, if somebody called up a support center, said, hey, I'm having problems, XYZ, this is the information, I can simply go to the cloud, I can click on pull back support files, and I can pull back all the configuration, all the events, all the alarms, all the throughput statistics that are locally present on that device, and pull it back for analysis here if I wanted to. I can also reboot the device. Sure, well, usually there's a bubble help that pops up. There must be something going on with my browser, something like that. So reboots and technical support.
So we do have a good question here. Back to when you were onboarding and all the devices, is it possible to import a text file or CSV file filled with the device serial numbers to bulk onboard?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you would just simply put them in here. You just paste them into this area and then claim devices.
Is it also possible to view all the devices' wireless IP addresses in the dashboards of the SMs list?
Yes, I believe, if I understand the question right. Let me do just that. So dashboard. So we're back in the system area. Let's go to one of the networks here that actually has. So these are EP&P access point and subscriber modules. And you can see here. So this is the EP&P access points. And if I click on this guy, let's see. I believe somewhere here, maybe it's in inventory. Oh, I need to choose the right in here. The SMs. Here we go. And here's the IP addresses of these devices. So you can see in list form here. So I'm on the access point of interest, this RM East Range Extender. That access point has 2 subscriber modules associated with it, and you can see it's kind of indented to kind of give a feel that this is the parent and these are the 2 children, Ted Park and Maria Conti, who are being served by these 2 subscriber modules. And if I go to what's called inventory view, which is this icon here, and I need to make sure I'm selecting on the proper device type, because by default, as you saw earlier, it was showing cmpilot R200, 201. There are none of those devices, so I would look here and say, oh, I don't see anything. But you need to select the drop-down. I want to see the SMs, and here I can see the MAC addresses of all the SMs that are associated with that access point, with the IP addresses, the uptime, and various other pieces of information. I could do the same thing with this guy here as well.
Fantastic, Dave. Well, we have about a little bit more than 5 minutes here, so Dave, you want to get going into some more detail? If we have any more questions, this would be a great time to ask them.
Great. I'll show you one more thing I want to make sure I squeeze in before I get the hook. Something that's very handy, or at least I find very handy. Let's see if I can find it here. Is this troubleshooting scenario here. A little bit more time. I think I shuffled the devices around a little bit. But, excuse me, so this troubleshooting view here, so let's say I had a Wi-Fi device that was being served by the subscriber module, which then is being served by this particular access point. I could, if someone calls up for a service call, I could, the Cambium devices have a automatic ability to discover where they are in a topology. Meaning, if I had a Wi-Fi device actually connected to this subscriber module, without me having to provision anything once I've onboarded it, it would automatically know via the protocol, the cnMaestro protocol, that, hey, I'm attached to a subscriber module. That subscriber module is wirelessly connected to this particular access point. And, oh, by the way, here are all the clients, the Wi-Fi clients that are attached to me, and all of that would be displayed in this single pane of glass, this single screen, which is a tremendous support aid to helping diagnose an issue or a problem or a connectivity thing going on with a particular customer, and can, as you can probably imagine, can greatly speed up a lot of your support and troubleshooting calls that you may have on your network. I apologize I don't have that particularly set up in this lab. If I had a little more prep, I probably would have gotten this set up so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about, but I think you get the idea. Basically, you would add one more box here, and this would happen automatically without you having to do anything, and that would be a connection to a Wi-Fi device, and the Wi-Fi device would show you all the devices connected to it, similar to what we see here. This whole setup here would be added on to the previous screen, and you would see all of this all in one single pane of glass, So you would know, am I having a problem at my access point? Am I having a problem at my subscriber module? Am I having a problem at the Wi-Fi access point, or some client issue going on?
So the other question coming here, is there any ETA on when the number of simultaneously managed ePMP radios will be increased?
Good question. It's really more of a product manager question. I know that is under discussion, and I know it's a
hot topic.
Hot topic. Thanks. I encourage you to, I hate to do this, but I'll encourage you to post that onto our community forum under the cnMaestro. I believe they are looking to raise the limit within the next month or two. I also believe that there's some tie-in, if you were on at the very beginning of this webinar, there's a tie-in to what we're calling the pay-for services, where if you want to manage more than X number, say 500 devices or 1,000 devices, whatever the number is, I don't know what it's going to be, you get free up to 200, up to 500 devices managed under the cloud. If you want to manage more than that, you simply pay a nominal fee, I don't know, $100 or whatever the number is going to be, and you get an uncapped limit on your cnMaestro account. I think they're going to do some things like that, but I can't say for sure. Post it on our forum. Our cnMaestro product manager, Alan Yu is his name, along with Emilio, will monitor the cnMaestro community forum pretty closely, and I'm sure they'll answer you within a day.
Dave, will this cnMaestro platform support older equipment as it moves to the new products?
Yes. So the intent is to be able to support legacy products by the end of the year, meaning like PMP 100 series solution. That'll be a little bit of a different implementation right now with our newer generation products, we'll call it, like PMP 450, ePMP 1000, 2000, CN Pilot products. All of those have what we call a cnMaestro device agent built into it, which is a little piece of software code that resides on the device and is able to, when you power it up and boot up, it seeks out and finds mama, which is cnMaestro. The older devices likely won't be able to support having that little device agent on it, that cnMaestro device agent on it, and so what we're intending to do, if you have a lot of legacy products like PMP 100s and such, we will have a little translator box solution available that you would put in your network, and it would simply translate from the current SNMP support that the device operates with for network management and do a conversion to the cnMaestro protocol to be able to talk to cnMaestro and allow you to manage your legacy, your legacy devices.
Dave, let's see, we have time for one last question here. Will it be possible to import or configure an onboard devices when you install them from the in-house app or the cloud app off of the cloud and onto the on-premise?
So if I understand the question right, someone is currently running the cloud version. They're waiting for the on-premise version to come out, and when the on-premise conversion or version comes out at the end of the month, they would like to be able to migrate their current cloud-managed devices directly onto the on-premise without having to rediscover everything. There is tools being, so we have a number of different customers who were asking for that. You're in luck. There are tools being created and will be provided to customers that request that will allow you to very simply, very easily move your currently managed cloud-based devices over onto an on-premise device without having to go through all the rediscovery, reconfiguration, things like that. Hopefully that's answering the question.
Yes, it does.
Excellent.
I think, let's see, that will be it for us. Thank you, Dave.
All right.
Everyone, I want to thank you for joining. Dave, thank you so much for the great presentation. I want to recommend if anyone has any further questions or topics of discussion, please post them to the forum. If you guys have any cool deployments, any ideas you guys have, please post them on our Facebook page, mention us on Twitter, go to LinkedIn, show us all those deployments you have on YouTube. All this is going to greatly appreciated. We have product line managers, engineers constantly looking at those things and taking your guys' ideas into consideration. So I highly suggest doing that. But without further ado, I want to thank everyone for joining. I also suggest you guys join our ePMP 2000 launch in about 10 minutes here. It's a new product we're excited to announce. So without further ado, thank you so much, everyone, and have a good one.
Thank you.